There's no other word for it. Phillip Garrido is a monster. What he's done is beyond belief. It's pure evil. He kidnapped Jaycee Dugard when she was 11 years old, kept her captive for 18 years as his sex slave, fathered her 2 children. His crimes horrified us all, made us wonder what kind of beast could do such a thing and how could he get away with it. Well, now we can go some way to answering those questions. Jaycee wasn't Phillip Garrido's first victim. Years ago, he did the same thing to a young woman called Katie Hall. Tonight, she tells her compelling story and takes us into the mind of the monster. His crimes have shocked and sickened the world. But as you'll see tonight, what's tragic is that Phillip Garrido has done it all before.
I am so angry right now at the whole system for failing and having let this happen to someone else. When I knew he was as capable of it, I knew he could do this. I looked evil in the face up close. I knew it.
Katie Hall, more than anyone, knows what Jaci Dugard has been through. At 25, she was also a victim of Garrido's depravity, and it was a crime with chilling parallels to Jaycee's ordeal. Raped and held captive.
You're being incredibly strong coming back.
I think I've had enough.
Garrido was given a lengthy jail sentence, but it meant little. He was out in just over a decade, and just 4 years later, he struck again, this time taking Jaycee Lee Dugard.
When you saw that picture on the TV, what was it like to see his face?
I started shaking. Well, I walked by the television and I looked at the picture and I looked at the name and I went, oh my God, that's him. That's the person who kidnapped and raped me.
Come on, Carl, don't.
It's too awful to think about. Jaycee was trusting and innocent. She described herself in a school assignment as someone who needed loving care, friends and family. A girl who feared bumblebees, spiders and spinach. Growing up, but still just a child. On the 10th of June 1991, every parent's greatest fear was realised. 11-year-old Jaycee Lee Dugard was snatched by strangers. Dressed in pink, the 5th grader was walking along here on her way to catch a bus to school. A car with a man and woman inside pulled up beside her. The woman forced Jaycee into the car. Then they were gone. Now, all this happened in sight of Jaycee's home, even in front of her stepfather, who then desperately gave chase on his bicycle.
911?
This is 911.
On Pioneer Boulevard, the wash zone. My daughter was just kidnapped. Top of the hill was a gray Ford. A man and a woman in the car.
You can hear the panic in Carl Probin's voice. As he told America's Most Wanted at the time, his stepdaughter disappeared before his eyes and there was nothing he could do about it.
When I saw the car door open, I immediately panicked and as a rush came through my body. And I reached my car keys, didn't have any, they were in the house.
6 months on, all Jaycee's family had was hope, but her mum, Terry, was never going to give that up.
We do feel she is alive. You know, I feel her in my heart, and that's what keeps me going.
But for 18 years, they heard nothing. Then, 2.5 weeks ago, 29-year-old Jaycee came back from the dead.
The hidden backyard had sheds, tents, and outbuildings where Jaycee and the girls spent most of their lives.
A survivor of the sinister and perverted world of Phillip Garrido and his wife Nancy, who have now been charged with kidnapping and rape.
Oh my God, my fears all these years were so justified, were totally justified. I wasn't being paranoid. I wasn't, worrying about nothing. He was very much capable, and I knew it.
As a 25-year-old, Garrido didn't look quite as creepy as he does today. So Katie Hall wasn't suspicious when he approached her in South Lake Tahoe, California, asking for a lift because his car wouldn't start.
He rapped on the window and it made me jump, and I turned and looked and there was this man standing outside my window, a man about my age, very tall.
Hey, sorry, I didn't mean to startle you.
He said, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. But I was wondering which way you're going. My car won't start.
Great, I'm going the same direction. You want to give me a ride?
And of course he was going whichever way I was going.
He said he only needed to go a few kilometres down the road to a friend's house. But when they got to the spot, there was no house, and Garrido attacked her.
Yeah, that's it. Pull over. Pull over.
How could he overpower you?
He lunged at me first, and I thought he was actually going to try and kiss me or hug me or something weird, you know? But he grabbed my head and he slammed it in the steering wheel, and I'm going, what? Wait, what are you doing, you know? And he said, I just want a piece of ass. If you be good, if you cooperate, you won't get hurt.
Piece of ass. If you're good, I'm not going to hurt you, okay?
Before Katie knew it, Garrido had handcuffed her, bundled her into the passenger seat, and using a leather strap around her neck, tied her head to her knees.
And that's when I really thought I was dead. And then he threw a coat over me. And I thought, oh my God, now what am I going to do? And I think I started asking him questions like, you know, like, can't we just do it right here? Can't we just go in the bushes? You want to do it right here? And he says, no, I've got a place planned. I've got a place set up.
That place was a rented mini warehouse in Reno, Nevada, an hour and a half's drive away.
The fact that he had this place already set up, what did it indicate to you at that point?
He had it set up to get someone, to abduct someone, and it was pretty well equipped to keep them there for as long as he wanted to.
Garrido's lair was an isolated self-storage shed. Inside, he created a maze of curtains, stringing up plastic sheets and heavy carpet to hide his victim and make entry and escape difficult. For the next 7 hours, Katie was repeatedly raped. He treated her like a sex slave and taunted her with his twisted ways.
He looked through me. He looked at me like I was a thing. And I would have to try to bring him into focus and try to humanize myself and make sure that he knew I was a person. And it's hard to explain. Like I said, I just started acting for my life.
Are you prepared to go back in there?
I'll take a few steps.
This is the first time Katie has been back to the very storage shed where Garrido kept her. His bizarre setup has gone. Her memories haven't.
Was it claustrophobic for you at the time?
It was very claustrophobic. I had no idea what kind of structure I was in. I couldn't see beyond that wall of plastic, and all I could see was my four walls. There was rugs on the walls, there was a dirty mattress on the floor. And I don't think he would have kept me for years and years. He would have killed me because I wouldn't have put up with it. I don't think I could have. I know I would have ended up dead.
It was 3 o'clock in the morning and Garrido had been attacking Katie for more than 7 hours. He was becoming more and more violent. But then, an unbelievable stroke of good luck. Here in the middle of nowhere, a local cop just happened to be driving by. He spotted Katie's car and noticed her interstate number plates. Thankfully, he was suspicious enough to take a second look.
The man said, what's going on here, the policeman? And I said, he's kidnapped me, he's trying to rape me. And Garrido said, no, I'm not. No, that's not what's going on. This is my girlfriend and we were just having a good time in there. And I said, no, I'm not. He raped me.
Garrido was sentenced to 50 years in jail with lifetime parole. But such is the American legal system, he was out in 11. Within 4 years, he and Nancy Garrido had snatched little Jaycee. And this place became her prison and home for the next 18 years. She was to become his sex slave and the mother of his 2 children.
When he kidnapped Jaycee, drove away in that car, what would his emotions have been?
His drug of choice is sexual contact with a young girl. And so like any addict who gets a fix, he would be excited, he would be anticipating, he would be feeling powerful. It's not a pretty picture.
Forensic psychologist Dr. Paula Bruce specialises in child abuse cases. They don't get much worse than what happened here in this squalid backyard. Police sources have said that Jaycee was kept in the backyard for the first 3.5 years to break her.
It's forced her to believe about herself that she has no power, that she cannot escape, that she can only be okay as long as she's connected to this person and whatever good she can find in him. And that becomes her identity.
Well, once they broke her, did they then have to restrain her, or was this now her family?
Absolutely. Remember, it's not only that she's in this horrific situation, it's that she has lost everything else that ever existed for her. Every friend that she's ever known, every family member that she's ever known, any familiar surrounding that she ever had, all gone.
Poor and rough, Antioch, an hour out of San Francisco, is the perfect place for a crime like this to go undetected for so long. Most people here learn not to know their neighbour's business. All they knew of Phillip Garrido was he was a printer.
He used to come here quite a lot. He used to come here.
His best customer was wrecking yard boss Siobhan Molino, one of the few people to meet Jaycee. She knew her as Alyssa, Garrido's daughter.
What was Jaycee like around Phillip and Nancy?
She treated them like they were her mother and father. And she didn't cling to no one. She was just there. But from what we saw, nothing ever gave way to that. That was what was going on behind closed doors.
Siobhan recently took this photo of 11-year-old Angel and Starlet, 15. She was told they were Jaycee's younger sisters. As we now know, Jaycee was in fact their mother.
They're beautiful little girls. Beautiful, well-mannered, soft-spoken, knowledgeable. I mean, they're your typical 11 and 15-year-old.
It's a disgusting thing that took place with me in the beginning, but I turned my life completely around.
When Garrido's vile secret life was finally exposed, he claimed in this radio interview from jail to have reformed himself and denied ever abusing his 2 daughters.
They slept in my arms every single night from birth, and never did I have them. I never touched them.
Do you believe him?
I think that he speaks with the denial that you see in many perpetrators.
So you believe they were sexually abused?
I suspect that they would be. But despite the monster that we know this man to be, he's daddy to them, the only daddy that they know.
Do you believe this man is mad, bad, or both?
He's pretty malignant. I think he is a very dangerous person. He probably should not have been released from prison.
Katie Hall certainly believes that. If Garrido was behind bars, he couldn't have attacked Jaycee. She and her daughters are now in a safe house, too traumatised to speak publicly. Katie is now happily married to Jim, but her ordeal at the hands of Phillip Garrido 32 years ago will always be with her.
Oh my God. You know, I won't be free. I will not be, in my mind, be free until he is dead.
He's the definition of everything wrong in the world. Absolutely. He is what bad is. Guaranteed. Everybody says monsters. He is what a monster is. He's everything you're hiding from, but now he's in jail. Thank God.
I won't rest until he is not on this earth any longer. He needs to be executed. I really think he does.
Hello, I'm Nick McKenzie. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. Don't miss out on our extra minute segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.